Oh, we live. Welcome, 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 one and all, to another live edition of the Extra Point. You know, when you see the split screen and you see my right hand woman to my right, then you know it's time for our international sports correspondent coming to you from the D to the Aura. How's it going today, Miss Tasha T. Sizzle?
Oh, it's just perfect. I changed locations today. Look, look, look at this. But
Where
well,
you
that's
at?
Lassie, people. That's Lassie.
Well, hey,
Hi, Lassie.
Lassie.
Look at these beautiful confines of this beach here. I'm in La Playa, which is the beach. Mira, Las Olas. Look at the waves.
Oh,
It's
wow.
it's calm today. There's really not a lot of traffic on the beach. It's overcast a little bit, but look at this. Look how
That
beautiful this
is
is.
absolutely beautiful. That is beautiful.
This is beautiful. What is this? Ocean?
Now, I would like turn my screen around, my camera around, and let everybody see my folding chairs, but I don't think it's gonna. I
Reverberate the
don't think
same way.
I don't think it's gonna reverberate the same way. It's glad to have you on board with me again today, Tasha T. Sizzle. We got a lot of controversial topics to talk about, so I figured it'd be a perfect day to bring you on board. But before we get into all of this foolishness, can you please tell us who's the sponsor is for today's show?
Our sponsor, as always, is May Jane's Coffee. That's MAEJANES coffee.com. You can get your Colombian, your Honduran, and your Brazilian blend coffee. It's fresh ground by my sweet baby daughter, Sasha. And again, it is mayjanescoffee.com. MAEJANES.com.
.com. Shouts out to Miss Sasha Denise and her black owned business. Before we get started though, how was your birthday? How was your birthday Sunday?
Actually, my brothers who work kind of down this way, they surprised me on Tuesday because here it's like Holy Week and they knew that the
Hmm.
beach was going to be crowded. So they had a little surprise for me on Tuesday where they decorated with balloons in my favorite color, which is purple. They had me a cake and everything. So it was nice. Sunday, it was actually rainy and kind of cold here, but I mean, I was alive. I was happy to be alive, blessed to
Right,
celebrate. It was resurrection. And I put that kind of in my
right,
post that, I'm
right,
grateful for the resurrection, which gave me the opportunity to be alive today, to celebrate my
right,
birthday.
right. Well said, well said. Well, you know there were people that was cutting up out here in these streets over Resurrection Weekend, and we about to snipe them off one by one. Let's start on a serious note. I'm sure that everybody who's going to be watching and listening to this either live or later on today will agree with me and Tasha when we extend our prayers out to Mr. Earl, aka Mr.
Arr.
DMX, while he's fighting for his life in a New York hospital. On Friday night, I believe he overdosed and it led to a heart attack, and now he's literally fighting for his life. Um, I don't know how many ODs this has been, but for those that have followed DMX's career, his illustrious career, um, this doesn't look good this time, Tasha T. Sizzle.
Well, I have a friend here, and she asked me the same thing. She says, "What do you think about the DMX situation?" Um, and it just so happened at the time when she asked me, Whitney Houston was playing on the radio in the
Oh
restaurant
wow,
we were eating. And
wow,
I said, it's sad because you have celebrities, you have people of affluence who have money to go and seek help, to go and receive help, but they use the money to go and buy drugs because it is a sickness. It's a
hmm,
sickness. We get off our jokes all the time about crackheads and this and the other thing, but it's an illness.
it
I don't
is.
I don't know what it's like to be addicted to any type of narcotic. It's sad. I mean, you wish the brother well. He's supposed to be getting some sort of brain test today to see if he has any brain functioning or not.
Hmm.
But it's just it's 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 sad. Like I said, and it's eerie. It's like out of all the things you can die from, you've had this good career, you have what seems to be a good life. We don't know if this is caused by stress that makes these people just, you know, do these type of drugs. But you're about to die for something that you just couldn't fight. You couldn't fight this demon.
Right. Now, and one person and the reason why I'm bringing this up is because Funkmaster Flex,
Hello,
yeah, Funkmaster Flex, who's heavily involved in the hip
hello,
hop
Baba.
community, he's 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 well connected, um, and he's basically lashing out at all of the entertainers who are now posting pictures of themselves with DMX, who are encouraging everybody to pray for this man, to putting together these vigils and all of these things for DMX. I believe yesterday they had a candlelight vigil outside of the hospital where hundreds of people showed up, and Funk Master Flex said that he grew frustrated because as connected as he is to the industry, he's seen firsthand how people have enabled DMX, how people have used him to be the life of the party, how people have looked the other way when they knew that he had a serious problem. When he was making the multi-platinum albums back to back to back, when he was scoring in movies
Rough
and making all that
Riders.
money, Rough Riders and all that the people just looked the other way when it came to DMX. And now that it looks like that he may not come out of this one, everybody wants to send up prayers and condolences when a lot of those people were partying with him. And like you said, not trying to assist him to seek help and things of that nature. And what he said specifically was to all you rappers out there that are posting pictures, that are doing all of these get well wishes and all of this, are you going to go check on him when he comes home from the hospital, if he comes home? Yeah, are you going to be the one that's going to put a little holy handshake in his hand with a few dollars because you know he's not going to be able to get on the road soon? Are you going to be the one that picks him up and takes him to the treatment facility and tell him that you'll be back every day until he gets clean? Like how don't use DMX right now as a time to increase your own celebrity profile. Give this man some help. And I can't not disagree with him on that.
Yeah, I'm but that always happens whenever somebody dies or something, whether it's good or bad. It's just, oh, let me find this photo of me and such. Like, I mean, let's say if one of us met our untimely demise, oh, I'm gonna flood everybody's timeline with my timeline with, photos of you. But it's also like if I knew someone, my close friend, that had an issue, I'm going to try to help them. But then again, we don't know if those people have tried to help him.
Right. It's a
You,
slippery slope, and people are grown. Now, we lost a mutual dear friend of ours. It'll be 2 years ago in a couple of weeks, and without mentioning any names, he had some battles with substances as well. And as much as you want to reach out and help, people do what people do,
mm-hmm,
and
mm-hmm.
when you got money, hey, when you're not rich and famous, and you got your own money to do what you're doing, and you're paying your own bills, how can somebody really get you to
Right,
to get the help that
to
you need.
to stop doing that. But it's also like, again, with these celebrity friends, it's almost like you would think, let me go and drag this by his collar. I, you're no longer, you're not DMX. You are Earl.
Right,
You get ready to get your ass in the Betty Ford Clinic or whatever's close to New York or wherever. Again, if I knew you or I crazy, we say crazy Tiffany or Stiana or somebody had a problem, I'm not going to sit up and post. I'm going to be on the next thing smoking to get to Houston, to get to Dallas, to get to Nashville, because obviously there are enablers around you guys who are not
right,
saying
right,
you need to do. I mean, even with me, I mean, I know if y'all see me all of a sudden and I'm around here looking scratching and looking crazy, y'all gonna be like, okay, damn, do we need to go? Do we need to call Sasha? Sasha, what's wrong with
right,
your mom? Is everything,
right,
you're gonna have a
right,
level of concern. So I
right,
mean, I do agree with Funk Master Flex, but and again, we don't know what those people have been doing. And then handing him money may not be the
Right.
best idea, because
Right.
if he gets healthy and gets quote unquote clean, who's to say he won't take that stack that somebody gave him and go buy some more?
Because he's been in rehab and out of rehab before.
Right.
So I mean, it's just one of those things that there's no winners. Now I can say with absolute certainty, if you come up here for the next Texas OU State Fair and you just happen to be looking for some clippers or a nail file in the bathroom drawer and you see a vial of crack and a little spoon, don't you laugh? Don't you laugh? You get back on the screen.
Where's the spoon?
Where's the spoon? I don't think you're gonna put that back in there and tell me to call the Uber.
No. First thing I'm gonna do is take it and I'm gonna flush it down the toilet, and then I'm gonna come up with that spoon after I done fashioned it into a shank and put it up against your throat and say, "What the hell is wrong with you?
Right.
Why was under my blank was 2 ounces of crack?" Shouts out, Hot Boys.
We're not laughing during this segment. We're not gonna do it. And shouts out to Sasha Denise checking in, saying hello. Yes, Sasha, I will be blowing you up. I'll be blowing up Miss LaCrone. I'll be blowing up Coach Smith. Whoever can get me closest to you. We'd have a problem right there. Now Paul Pierce, not Paul Pierce. We'll get to him in just a second. Lamar Odom. Speaking of which, he just don't do it. Don't you do it? You sit up straight. Lamar Odom, just on the heels of this, he just did a Vlad interview to where he's finally opening up about his NBA playing career and things. It's a very fascinating interview. The one thing that he said in that I found was fascinating was how much money that he blew in his NBA career by smoking weed. He said that he was suspended twice in 8 months on his first stint on his contract, and then things kind of spiraled down from there. So while the Elton Brands and some of the people who came out with him were getting max deals, he said that he cost himself over $30 million because his name was tainted, the fines, missing games, the people not wanting to take a chance on you anymore. $30 million, and it was hurt in his eyes when he said 30 million. And what I found interesting there, which goes back to what you said about flushing the drugs down the toilet, he said, I wasn't smoking this weed by myself. I had people with me. And then he told Vlad, because Vlad tried to downplay it and say, well, hey, I smoke weed every day too. He was like, nah, but when I'm smoking weed with those, I would never have let me fail a drug test in the NBA if I'm the meal ticket.
Right.
I would go out of my way, even if it comes down to fisticuffs or me flushing your drugs down the toilet, that I won't let you smoke. We ain't gonna let you smoke.
Wait a minute, hold up now. I ain't gonna be flushing no sticky. I'm just gonna slide that in my pocket and take that.
You gonna put it in your poise?
Yeah, it's going in my poise. That's with me. Let's just get that out there.
Right.
And the sad part about it, in today's NBA, he would kind of be overlooked.
And he said that. He said in today's NBA, I'd be fine.
But the fact that and that's the thing, and I had this discussion with someone who is, police, and they always saying that marijuana is a gateway drug. Me as a smoker has never in my life said, put a little white powder on this, or this ain't doing it. If I get some of this, give me a vial and some crack and smoke this, because this weed.
Which happened to DMX actually,
right?
Which is how he got hooked on drugs in the first place. Somebody laced his blunt with crack.
See, but I have never wanted to have a high or a low like that would make me want to do something other than smoke weed. That's just it. And also when you see, the thing is, he looks at it now because he's hurting for money. But when he was getting money, it didn't seem like 30 million doesn't seem like a lot if you got a contract for $100 million or whatever.
Right.
That 30 million is just like, yeah, I'm gonna buy, finna buy some weed. We finna go smoke. My boys finna smoke. And your hangers on are not gonna tell you not to go buy the dope because they getting the top quality because they smoking your ish.
Right.
They're not going to tell you that. But when you look at it now that he is struggling, he had his stint when he was at the Bunny Ranch and, almost lost his life.
Right.
Well, he says it wasn't drug induced, but,
Right. Okay, Lamar.
Right. You look back at it now that he's struggling, that 30 million is hurting him now. But
And he
back in
even said that on the Vlad interview. He says, "You know what I could do with that money now? Like, that would have me set up for retirement. You know what
that's
I'm
a little
saying?
crack.
Oh, you know what? Stop it. We're talking about weed now. We're talking about weed. Now, I've never looked at one, and maybe in my own ignorance, I've never been one to look at weed at the same way I look at cocaine or
Right.
pills or crack. Like, weed to me was habit forming. It's not so much addictive. Just change your habit. Instead
Right.
of going to smoke weed, go do something else. Now
Because
you got to
I've had to switch my strain from down here because down here what they smoke is what back in the day old school cess, what your mom and your daddy used to smoke with the seeds and the stem. So I have to pick that out and do a lot of
that
other stuff.
headache powder.
Right, I have to do so much for my weed down here. I mean, they do have some, they got some good, they got some green, but it costs a lot more. Where I can just go ahead and get my cess, do what I need to do, smoke it, and call it a day.
Right. It's
I
now
don't I don't see your
no, no,
face.
keep
It's
talking.
gone. Okay.
No, keep talking. I will return momentarily.
You boo booing? What are you doing? Sorry, people. He has the most technical difficulties when it comes to his laptop and everything else that goes on. So, since it's just us, somebody throw me a question. What do you want to talk about? Hello? Is anybody there?
Now,
Hello?
look, I'm
Oh,
back
now
here
he's back.
now. Now, Kitty
He's
Man
back.
says, "Give him a dog bark for DMX."
Arr, arr.
And yes, I shall return here momentarily. So, no
If you
frets, no
want it, you
frills.
got it. Come and get it. We bet it all you got to do is shut it, baby. Right or die. What you want? Arr, arr. What the? Oh, sorry.
No, that's fine. But give me one moment here. Go ahead and no, no, that's cool. We're still going now. Tasha T Sizzle, I need you to help me with something here
Okay.
because on Easter Sunday I saw one Paul Pierce going on Instagram Live. And when I looked up on Instagram Live, Tasha T Sizzle, the man had strippers. It looked like there was weed in the background. As I come back, there was strippers, there was weed. There on Instagram Live, Tasha T Sizzle. There was debauchery going on with your boy, and lo and behold, today he's been fired. Shouts out to Joe Shelton checking in. Maplewood High School band in the house.
Hey,
Um,
Joe.
the dumbest firing of 2021 so far. Dare we say? First of all, he got fired on his day off.
Okay, okay. Let me just go and get this take off. Me being me, I don't see nothing wrong with it. The only thing that I think was wrong was the fact that he was torturing those people by having his old Celtics clips playing in the background. That's the only thing. And I saw on someone's post, it was actually Tiffany's son. I think he said his grandfather said when he asked him what was wrong, he said he didn't have a mask on. So I mean, me, like I said, me being me, I don't have a problem with people. If you want to go see the Scrippers, go see the Scrippers. If you want to smoke your weed, smoke your weed. But when you work for someone else who
Right.
has access and you are a public figure, you are the truth,
Mm-hmm.
where everybody's going to see that, you can't go live. What does Herm
Live?
ever, what does Herm ever say? He say don't hit send. So, now somebody should have at that point taken his phone and said, "Oh, let's not. You can't go. Sorry, the sand's blowing in my face. Sorry, you can't go live." They should not have allowed him to go live. Now, had he been in the strip club and you went live, okay, because hell, Lemon Pepper Lou, he got his own strain of wings down there. You know, so I say
Right.
strain. He got his own strain of wings down there in Magic City. If he was in the club or something, but it's the fact that you work for Espen, and we know how they've been getting down here lately.
Right. And my thing is you're not doing anything that we've never seen before. You're just smoking weed. You're just smoking weed. Now we have a great question from our sponsor of the day, Miss Sasha Denise. Question: do y'all think he did this on purpose? What say you, Tasha T. Sizzle? That's a
I'm
great
not.
question.
I'm not gonna necessarily say he did it on purpose. I just want to know what was your reasoning for? Like, why do you, Paul Pierce? Why do you need clout? Like, were you out there clout chasing to? Like, what was his purpose for doing it? I don't necessarily think, oh, it was on purpose. I mean, and it definitely wasn't an accident because he was in the camera talking and whatnot. I just don't understand why he felt the need to. And I have no problem with him doing it. I just don't know why you went live with it.
Right. And I don't think anybody has a problem with him doing it because, I mean, from a culture standpoint, he wasn't doing nothing no different than you do with your homeboys at a bachelor party or at a birthday party or anything of that nature. I don't even think people were really that blown away by the weed. Um, he didn't seem to care too much about being fired, is what Sasha's saying. Now to her point, if he's trying to get off ESPN, that was a great way to do it because ESPN has been blazing him on these NBA countdowns. Remember the time when he said he had a better career than Dwayne Wade, and your boy and my boy Juwan Howard pulled up beside him and started reading off receipts. Then they zoomed in on Paul Pierce's face. He was like,
But the whole point is, I think now that you say that, and I do remember that, maybe he felt like, because again, he had Boston Celtics highlights and games of when he was playing in the background. Well, you got a point, Kenny, with the Walt Disney thing. That is true. But
right,
again, and that was my point. You did that knowing who you work for. It's
right,
not like it's not like you what's the freaky guy at Fox that died that was harassing all the women at work. Roger Stone. No, not Roger. Was that his name? That owned Fox News? He's dead now. So, but it'd be different if it's your company and you want to get on live and do some stuff.
right,
It's different. Roger
right,
Ailes. That was it. Roger Ailes. Like that's different. But when you work for people, you kind of have to watch what you do, and it's messed up that you can't live your life. But you kind of got it. I just don't. I really want to know why he went live. That was my thing. When I saw it, I was like, you decided to go live with this?
right. Now this does bring up an interesting discussion. Shouts out to Shamika Nicole checking in from Nashville, Tennessee. She says, "Y'all heard that was intentional because he wanted to get out from under contract with ABC and Disney. Um, you could just put in a 2 week notice. Did you have to go out in a blaze of glory, like literally?
Opportunities
Um,
to go, but does that ruin his chances for working for another network? Because I mean, let's just face it. He's not Dan Marino, who had an extramarital affair when he was working at CBS and got blazed, but still got to keep his job. And some of those controversial things that Boomer Esiason says and does, and he still kept his job. But then they got rid of old Shannon.
right, right,
Shannon is, old Unc, but he's bounced back on his
right.
feet doing his,
Now,
with Skip and whatnot. But I
I think
don't think
what Shamika Nicole is
he,
saying is not if he was trying to keep
you
his coin.
know, he's not afforded the same on my
Okay, you're cutting in and out on me, Tasha. You cutting in and out. But what I'll do is I'll pick up and says now Kenny Man says I don't think
opportunities.
that
I mean,
it'll miss his chance at a job.
lady,
He will.
you said
Okay,
what?
now I said you were cutting in and out there. Now Shamika says he'll get another bag from somewhere. Um, he will. Now the thing is, the one reason why I can see how he got himself intentionally fired is if he's under one of those no complete compete clauses to where he can't just quit his job and go work for a competitor. And maybe he was trying to get out from under his contract, and the only way to do so will be to get fired. That's definitely one way to do it.
And
I
you
don't
don't have to
work
pay the
for
money back.
Right. Now, I don't work for ESPN. None of us work for like a conglomerate of that nature, but you still won't find us doing live smoking weed with strippers in the background.
Well, I'm because I ain't got no job, so I'm
Well,
not
you're
doing it.
retired. That's different. I do think he'll get the bag from somewhere else. As a matter of fact, yesterday they said that a porn industry, like one of the major porn companies, had offered him a gig to talk about sports with strippers in the background already. And
Oh,
then you know they got money to throw his way.
and then
So
look, remember Marv Albert when he was spanking women with lacy underwear on? He still got his job, you know.
he was still calling games for Jordan and them.
Mhm,
So
mhm.
and the most obvious, Michael Vick, they ran him almost out of the country for what he did, and he still bounced back and he has a current job on Fox right now. So just don't let him on Undisputed with Uncle
Because Club Shay Shay will have a totally different meaning if he's on there.
Right. Okay. And the thing is, you can't pay me to believe that Shay Shay don't get down. That
Come
old
on,
Unc don't get down for his with this
Shay Shay
newfound
getting
fame
down.
and money.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
he got some clapping going on, some butterflying going on in the background.
Clappers
um,
to the front, front, front. Okay. Wally, I'm
now,
sorry.
one other thing that Shamika Nicole said that I want to touch on said he has an internet social media presence that he didn't have without his TV contract. Now, that's very true. He can go and start his own podcast now, and the quote unquote real ones are gonna flock to it.
Right.
Because we like, oh, he's really the truth. Maybe this is a part of him rebranding himself. Not
But I
sure.
mean, he ain't the. He's kind of like a Draymond Green to me. He wants to like toot his own horn because he wouldn't have won had they not had uh, Garnett and Shuttlesworth. That's just my opinion.
Oh, Jesus. I do not disagree one bit there. I'm Team LeBron James on that. But speaking of brands and losing the bag, now Paul Pierce may not be losing the bag, but Deshaun Watson is definitely and literally losing the bag. Now, this morning when we woke up, Nike, his biggest endorser, said they're pulling the plug on him. He's been suspended. And the statement that they put out made it look like he ain't coming back no time soon because they were horrified to even be associated with that type of allegation. Them allegations. And just before we went on the air, Dr. Dre and his company, Apple, Beats by Dre, as we see right there on the screen, they pulled the plug on Deshaun Watson as well. So we're talking about two billion-dollar companies with multi-million-dollar deals with Deshaun Watson that's off the table now. And I don't see them coming back. Um, your thoughts on them pulling the plug? Would you have done the same thing?
We talked about this again too, with this cancel culture and people
Mm-hmm.
not wanting to be associated with certain things. I
Mm-hmm.
don't disagree with it because basically what they said, like a like Dollar in Players Club and Blue, what I don't need your services either. Like that's basically what they told him. Because you think about it, even though we support Cap, well, I'm not going to speak for you. I support Cap. Nike never turned their back on Cap. Gave the man his
Mm-hmm.
own shoe, even had jerseys, specially made apparel for supporting Cap. When old
Mm-hmm.
Tigre went through his thing with his wife,
Mm-hmm.
uh, Nike didn't drop Tiger.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and Tiger's still making money. Now he did lose like Tag Heuer and it's a watch company for those who don't know. Other things, but Tiger did not lose his major endorsement, which was Nike.
Right.
And also, the things that they did were not criminal allegedly criminal in nature.
Right.
These charges, because when the allegations first came out, I was the first one who was like, no, I don't believe it. It could have happened, but I don't know. But when you have multiple One, two, three. Okay, but you got 22 women. Now, do I believe all 22? Probably not. But something happened that these women are now saying that they didn't want to happen, and so he has to own up to that. He has to own up to that. So you're losing, like you said, you lost Beats, you lost Nike. He owns a restaurant or partnered with a restaurant down there in Houston. He's sponsored by a whole lot of other people. Are the dominoes going to start falling?
Oh yeah. Now the thing is, it's a when they say in the NFL it's a copycat league, that goes for everything. I think everybody was waiting to see who was going to do it first, because it wasn't a few hours later when Beats by Dre decided to do this after Nike decided to do it. I
Because
think everybody
Nike
was
was,
taking.
yeah, because Nike was like he was suspended, but suspended, and then you got the one lady that came out, showed her face, gave her name.
She put
That's
a name
suspended,
and a face to it.
right? That may be cause for him to be terminated from the contract. Period.
Right. Now, Stephen A, while we don't agree on everything, he did bring up a numbers point that I find fascinating. So if you got 23 people that's come out, 23 women that's come out against him officially, but he had 18 women in a sworn affidavit saying that he was above reproach with them. Damn, we had what, 40 women? How many test runs do you need before you can find you a masseuse that you can trust? And why don't you know any of these women prior to?
Right? Like what? Wasn't the Bill
Are they on
Cosby?
ZipRecruiter?
You on LinkedIn? Like
Right.
what? The Bill Cosby, Darren Sharper is going on here.
Right. It's like just the amount of women that are in this pool is alarming in itself. And then on top of that, on Saturday, one of the women, and see, this is where I'm like, I think this is where Nike decided to step in and Beats by Dre decided to step in. One of the women who had originally signed a sworn affidavit in support of Watson, saying that she had given him over 40 massages and that they were always professionally done, they went into her DMs and found conversations with her talking to another person saying that she stopped working with Deshaun Watson because she heard it about these other women, and that she even reached out to him in a direct message saying, "Hey, bro, you may want to slow down. Your name is getting hot out here in these streets. These women are talking. You know, I'm sure it's a
Really?
small community. These women are talking now. Um, so it's like for the legal team to go dig that up on her that quick, it's like, oh, so you came out to show support, but you stopped working with him because you heard about other women and you didn't want to get caught up in no foolishness.
See, again, I know people are just different, and I've always been the outspoken, person that I am. I just have an issue with if someone is doing something to you that you don't agree with, that you keep going back. Now, at this point, I'm not victim shaming. But I mean, if y'all think I am, I don't care. But I just don't understand why, especially the young lady who was like, "Oh, he wanted me to do this," and he just had a towel on. All you had to do was pick up something and hit him and run. What was he going to chase you with a towel or naked with his, in the air? I mean, if this is something that he is doing, he's sick, because
Mm-hmm.
you are Deshaun Watson. You have all of this money. You can go get you any woman that you can pay. You paying the massage therapist, you paying these masseuses, you can go get you one of these scuzz buckets. And Houston got some of the best strip clubs. Go get one of them girls off the pole to service you. Why are you out here with this predatory behavior?
Right,
That's
right.
that's
It's
what
like,
bothers me. It's the predatory behavior. Because if you out here and you want to go meet girls through Instagram and you want to sleep with them, I'm fine. But it's the predatory behavior that's bothering me. That now I'm thinking, yeah, Beretta did that ish.
right. Um, and me and Kenny Man said right at the exact same time. What up, Marcus Stone? Checking in. Um, to me, the next step is going to be the NFL. The NFL is about to put him on the commissioners list. You're done, buddy. You're done. Now, hopefully, with the commissioners list, you still get to get paid, so you can pay your lawyers. But your lawyer's about to eat up all that.
Yeah, and all
23
those
cases.
and all those fancy trips, you and your new girlfriend, because she done got her baller. She want to show off on the Instagram with all the Chanel and Louis Vuitton and all these magnificent trips you were taking. All that's going to have to cease because, you know,
I mean, you talking about all the trips that she
you're
was
not going to have
taking?
the money. Then I just think about his mother. That with Michael Vick. When all of that stuff was going on with Michael Vick, and then you had Marcus out here acting a damn fool. And I would see that woman on camera, and I would just say, that poor woman. Imagine what his mother. Imagine what she's going through.
Right. Right.
Imagine what she's going through when they started from the bottom. Now they're here, and now they're going to have to go back because of his alleged poor judgment.
Right. It's now that it's going into the criminal aspect of the judicial system. It's looking more and more shaky for the brother. Um, like again, I hope it's not true that because of the fact that means that 20 women weren't assaulted or put through any type of predatory behavior. But my goodness, this is looking. Oh boy, this is looking bad. And for the one woman to come out publicly in support of you to get shot down so quickly, you can imagine this is going to be something that gets ugly way before it gets better. Speaking of something else that was ugly, T Sizzle, did you catch the national championship game? Sizzle, are you there? Did you catch the national championship game?
I haven't heard anything you said.
I said, did you catch the national championship game?
Can you hear me?
I can. Well, look, we'll try to get her back in just a moment. But while we do, my question to everybody is: do you trust Gonzaga? Will you ever trust Gonzaga again after they just got
I still
smoked
can't
in
hear
the
you.
national championship game? Because I do not. And we're going to talk about that on Friday. We're also going to talk with, hopefully, with Michigan Mike on Friday as well, to get some of his thoughts on some of the upcoming draft things that are going on. T Sizzle, are you back with us?
I can't hear you.
She can't hear me. All right, but that'll call it a day for us. So on behalf of Miss Tasha T Sizzle, your boy Mr. P.L. Colter, we will be back with you all on
Let me go
Friday.
back inside to see if it'll pick up better. Hold on. Carry on with your daily activities.
With the daily activities.
We're experiencing technical difficulties on my end right now.
And that's quite okay. I want to talk about Gonzaga while you're still here. They got their asses
I
whooped
would run, but I got
by
on
Baylor.
flip
No, don't
flops.
run, don't
Give me a
run.
minute.
They got they
I don't
got
want to
whooped.
fall on these cobblestone streets and skin my
No,
knee up.
don't fall on the street and skin your knee up. But
Almost there. Hold on.
while we wait
We need
for
some
Tasha T
elevator
Sizzle to
music.
make her way down the mulberry bush and
A
around the
hold
corner
button.
and around the tree and all that good stuff. Um, in recap, we were talking about DMX
Hold
at the
on.
top of the show and
Almost
how our
there.
prayers are
I'm a
going
few
out
steps
to.
away from the apartment. Maybe the Wi-Fi will pick up. I don't know if it's my Wi-Fi or if it's your Wi-Fi.
No, don't try to
Hold
put
on.
this on my Wi-Fi.
I'm almost there. Trabajando. Had to tell my friend I'm working.
Are you now?
Hold on. Almost. Okay, let's see now. I still don't hear you.
holler at you right quick, Marcus Stone.
Okay, according to Marcus's comment here, I think we're talking about Gonzaga. And again, I couldn't watch the game, but I was watching Twitter. And I'm thinking, did Gonzaga wake up? Or are they still on mountain time? What happened? But someone said that it was the athleticism that got them.
Yes.
Again, I really couldn't see the game. Again, I'm just going off of the notes that people are putting because I can't hear you at all.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, you just unmuted yourself.
Right. Can you hear me now?
Let me leave, and then I'll come back in.
Okay.
Okay.
So, to pick up where Marcus was saying, and Sasha Denise, right, that was the Lord telling us to stop talking about that, man. Y'all, that Baylor game was a Baylor beat down. A Baylor beat down. If you're a Baylor fan and you came in 10 minutes late to that game, then you already missed the entire game. It started 9-0, and they were down by 15 points at the first television timeout. Now Marcus says those Waco boys are grimy and put them paws on Gonzaga. Oh yes, they did, Marcus. On the first possession, they had 3 or 4 offensive rebounds. They were physical in the paint. They were not only more physical and more athletic, but they were also better at shooting the 3-point shot. It was one of the biggest mismatches I've seen in a national title game since the '90 UNLV team ran up against Duke the first time.
Again, like I said, from what I said, what I was reading on Twitter, I was like, so is Gonzaga playing? Again, like I said, are they still stuck on the mountain time zone? What is going on? And I'm thinking, this is good for Baylor because with all the controversy they've had, you needed something like this to take away from the biggest scandal is one of your basketball players, getting murdered and your coach trying to blame the sanctions. Trying to blame the program's downfall on the boy, the dad,
right, and was killed by another teammate that you recruited. Right. That looked like UNLV circa 1990. It was men against boys out there. Now, my question to you, T. Sizzle, and to anybody else that's out there watching, is this it for you in Gonzaga? Will you ever trust them again? Because they've been the number 1 seed forever.
It's never been a thing with me with Gonzaga. I remember I told you last time when we start talking about the bracket, I said, is Gonzaga the new Great White Hype or the Great White Hope that, people are rooting for them, but every year you show up and the bottom of your sack falls out and you break all your eggs. You show up with a dozen multicolored eggs that are supposed to be hard boiled, and then the bottom of your bag gets wet and all your eggs fall on the ground.
Every year they do this. Every year they stockpile this great resume in the West Coast Conference where they're not playing anybody but Pepperdine and St. Mary's and teams of that ilk, BYU and teams of that nature. And then you stat pad this resume, get a number 1 seed, and then never reach expectations. This was supposed to be the year where you had Jalen Suggs, a lottery pick, you had youth, you had experience, you had 2 All-Americans on your team that played like crap. But what happened to Drew Timme? Old handlebars. Got shut down.
Is it that the stage gets too big for them? And then they did have a lot of pressure on them trying to be, the first undefeated team since what was like 76 or whoever somebody went undefeated.
Right, that was Indiana.
Was it the pressure that got to all that pressure done been built up for 35 years? Was it the pressure? What made them underperform as bad as they did?
This is my thought on Gonzaga. That I don't want to hear nothing about no pressure about being undefeated when you're in the WCC. When you're in the West Coast Conference, I don't want to hear about no pressure. You should be undefeated every year going into the tournament.
Right, when you're playing in that
right.
league.
Right. Now, and Baylor conversely was number 2 all year, and they were getting the same results playing against the likes of Texas A&M, Oklahoma State, a lot of teams that not only made the tournament but won games in the tournament.
So you're
That right
saying,
there.
so you're basically saying you think it's the competition, like because they were so hyped up and have been hyped up for the last few years because they lack competition in their conference.
Well, I think that's part of it. But the other part of it that I think that let's just keep it real. Baylor and the look and now Marcus says they were busy watching Paul George and James Harden playoff runs and thought that was the way. Maybe they could very well maybe have thought that, but I think more than anything that when these college teams go up against Gonzaga, they want to prove a point
Yeah.
because the Billy Packards of the world, the Grant Hills of the world, the Jim Nances of the world. If you saw that actual game called live, they were just begging you to stay on. Oh, Gonzaga's about to make a run. Oh, look at Drew Timmy. One of the people on First Take almost got thrown off the set. I believe it was Dickie V when he said that Drew Timmy had the best footwork of any big in the history of college basketball. Stephen A. Smith almost threw like had a tissy fit
Like
off
I'm
of that.
about to. No, okay. The thing is, you normally take what Dickie V says because he is a proven expert, but
Right.
that was a very novice comment to make. Very
Well, it's a
novice.
narrative. It's a narrative. It really is. It's a narrative that Gonzaga plays smarter and plays harder.
I wonder why. Those
You know those
adjectives.
you know the stereotypes that get attributed to non-African American athletes. Oh, and when they talked about Baylor, it was always they're bigger, stronger, faster, more athletic. No, they were running plays, bruh. They cracked your code. They put Drew Timmy in the pick and roll because they knew his footwork wasn't good enough to keep up with an NBA caliber player like Mitchell or like Butler, who was pulling up from 25 and 30. They outshot them in the 3-point game. So this wasn't about, that type of narrative. They beat them in every physical and mentally possible way that you can beat a team on a basketball court.
I mean,
And
it's like they're giving Baylor the same remarks. This is kind of off topic that they're giving Justin Fields. And every
let's
other.
talk about. No, I'm glad you brought him up because riddle me this, somebody. And Stone, you got a kid right now that has a chance. You got to get to D1 before you get to the NFL. Has a chance to play on Sundays at some point in time. May God have His hands on your son for that. Justin Fields went from Heisman hopeful to now he's the scumbag quarterback of the earth, and his pro day was great. So how do you get all of? How does he now the fifth quarterback that's going to be taken? How is he behind Mac Jones now, who the 49ers, your boys, are rumored to be taking at number 3?
He's behind them because he is not Trevor Lawrence and he is not Mac Jones. They do not possess the same tone, the same complexion. Because how would
I had to
you?
sip some Bay James on that.
I mean, it is what it is. And I mean, and the thing is, once you get that, one of the reasons I hate defending him is because you know why.
Right,
But
right.
above all of that, this is me first. I'm going to defend you until you prove me wrong. They are beating their boy in the ground simply because they want Trevor Lawrence to be the best. Trevor Lawrence is the new savior because look at the quarterbacks who are out here doing everything. Look at them. Look at their number one, their style of play. That even goes to someone like a Drew Brees and an Aaron Rodgers who, yeah, they are throw first, but they also can take off and run. Well,
They got the wheels.
Yeah, they got the wheels. And then you look at the black quarterbacks who, you got your Deshaun Watsons. You got your other black quarterbacks that are out here doing it. I think they may be now trying to get away from that and bring it back to where it is more of the drop back. Take the ball on the center, and throw type quarterbacks. But the athletes that you all are salivating over because they can do this for you or they can do that for you are Justin Fields-esque. And that's at every position. Look at these offensive linemen now who are not your big, fat belly hangings. They are more athletic.
Right. Right.
You're not talking about, oh, it's a smart offensive lineman. They want these big 6'5", 300-pound all muscle offensive linemen now. That's
Right.
athleticism. Everyone is
Be-
good. The athleticism works in everybody's benefit. It's the benefit to everyone except for black quarterbacks.
Now, here's where I think revisionist history gets lost on people. It wasn't just but a couple of months ago where we saw Trevor Lawrence and Justin Fields on the field together, and Fields gave him that work with 3 broken ribs, stayed in the game,
Mm-hmm.
and threw from the pocket. He couldn't run anymore after that.
Mm-hmm.
Threw in the pocket. Now, Marcus Dompio, you know how we do over here. We are comfortable with being uncomfortable. We hustle when the odds are stacked against us. True enough. And the thing is, what I think is going to happen is you're going to have a team like Carolina at 8. Somebody down there in the 9, 10, 11 range is going to get to move up and draft Justin Fields. He ran a 4.40.
And then Carolina just took Sam Darnold. They don't want him. He's backup material.
Now, you know I always come prepared, T Sizzle. Speaking of that and replacing Teddy Bridgewater, now the Carolina Panthers, they gave New York this year's 6th-round pick, next year's 2nd-round pick, and next year's 4th-round pick for Sam Darnold. Let me read you off what old Teddy Get Ready did last year in Carolina. 69% completion rating. 69%. Not 59. 69% completion rating. Over 3,700 yards. 15 touchdowns. A 92.1 QBR. And that was without run CMC. No Christian McCaffrey all year and his 1,000 receiving yards. So you can imagine he'd be close to 5,000 yards with a healthy McCaffrey. As far as passing, Carolina was 18th in the league in passing. Let me read you off the playoff teams that they did better, that they were better in passing than. New Orleans, the Saints had a better passing attack than the Saints last year. Chicago, Tennessee, Cleveland, Washington, and Baltimore. But yet Teddy's on the chopping block again. For Sam Darnold.
What did my brother, my Aryan brother, Marcus Stone, just say? I got to say something's gonna make folks uncomfortable. What is it that the NFL does not like about black quarterbacks? They still cannot be thinking back in the day when they thought the black athlete was not smart, was not intelligent enough to run a team. Why is it they continue to want these white boys to run the teams? I don't understand. I don't understand that at all.
It could be an ownership. It could be an ownership thing because
but they got a new ownership who's supposed to be a little more quote unquote progressive than the one that they just had. The one they basically told us, no, I'm gonna need you to drop that PLC off, and we need that team. You know.
Right. But I'm saying maybe globally, because if you think about it as a whole, the NFL really came to Kaepernick's defense this past offseason after the George Floyd situation.
But it took the death of how many black men for them to say, maybe he had a point. They kicked that man out of the league. He couldn't even get a job, and at the time when he was not playing, he was better than at least 20 quarterbacks that were in the league.
That is true. But what I'm saying is this could be part of the blowback then. You know what I'm saying? Because if you look at the top quarterbacks in the league, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, the last 2 regular season MVPs outside of Aaron Rodgers, Dak Prescott, highest paid quarterback, Russell Wilson, he wants out. Deshaun Watson, I want out. Like, they're starting to get too much. You know what I'm saying? I mean, but scandal aside, that no trade clauses. I can kind of dictate to you where I want to go, and now they're getting a little too mouthy. Maybe.
Right.
Get a little too beside themselves.
And like the Houston Texans owner said, the old one that died, you letting the inmates run the prison. And I really think that it goes back to that subconsciously. I'm not saying that they may be doing it on purpose, but subconsciously. I was reading an article, as a matter of fact, before we even got on this, because this wasn't one of our topics today. We
no, it wasn't.
With this. I just read an article, and they were talking about, it was an article that someone wrote about a black quarterback, a black athlete back in the day, maybe like the 50s or the 60s, and it had so many racial like things, stereotypes, and they were like, okay, this guy wrote this, but somebody had to proofread this and say, okay, yeah, send that to press. So I think that that narrative is always going to be stuck in the back of some people's minds that the
Right.
black athletes, the black quarterbacks cannot run a team, even though they have proven that they can run a team and they can be successful and they can win.
Now, Sasha Denise asked a good question. Is that not knowing their worth, though? I think that's wherein lies the problem.
Mm-hmm.
Because the worth lens isn't equal coming through both sets of lenses.
Right.
Like Dak. Dak had to sit out a whole year, break his leg to get his money. What is that?
The broken ankle. That's how his ankle
Don't
was.
do that. It looked like the letter L.
Hail State, clanger, clanger.
Right. And this was a 4th-round pick that came in and saved your franchise. But he wound up having to play on 1-year deals, and he had to prove his worth. Had to prove it.
Well,
overly prove it.
Well, Jerry Jones is Calvin Candy to me, so I.
But I think that when it comes to this draft, the fact that now maybe this could be gamesmanship by somebody who wants Fields to fall to them, but it'll be hard for me to believe that Mac Jones is a better NFL prospect. Or let me back up though. Or could it be the ghost of Ohio State QB's past that's coming back to bite him? Let's look from another lens here, because you got Dwayne Haskins, you got JT Barrett, you got the Smith boy, Troy Smith. They've had a lot of great college quarterbacks that didn't do crap in the NFL.
And what's the one who was with Houston, but they made him a receiver? What was his name?
Oh yeah. I remember who you're talking about. Yeah. They made him. I think it was Troy Smith.
But even looking at, but I still think Justin Fields is different because we've seen them. Unfortunately, we've seen the bottom parts of their Nikes when they stepping on our face, crashing our helmets in.
Right.
He's different to me. I don't know if, because we talked about that, how all the FI quarterbacks go to the league and they turn out to be crap.
Right, but Fields was not a traditional
right.
What's the word I'm looking for? The type of quarterback that does Hey, Michigan Mike checking in. Hey, what's up, Mike?
See, Mike agrees with me.
And Mike don't rock with Ohio State on nothing.
Justin Fields he's not your typical, let's pick him up, let's put him back here, let's make him a quarterback. I think
he wasn't a read option quarterback.
Yes,
he was dropping back and letting it fly.
He is a quarterback.
Yes.
He is, and I think he's different. Like I said, he's just different. But it also goes to show you, Urban Meyer is the one that recruited that boy. And when he came from Georgia or whatever, he came up there to play with you. But you gonna take Trevor Lawrence over the boy that you wanted?
Mike, step in here for a second, Mike, because we need a third Michigan. Now hold on, let's see what he says here. He says pocket passer, he'll have a long life in the NFL.
Right.
I agree with that because his game ages well, and he doesn't predicate his whole game on athleticism.
And this is coming from 3 Michigan people, and we are standing up for this boy,
Right. I wouldn't have ran the 40. I would have pulled a Lamar Jackson. I wouldn't even ran the 40 if I was him, because I don't want to run that type of offense in the NFL. You're not going to get me killed like you're going to get Lamar Jackson killed out there.
Because when you go out there and show them that you got the slightest bit of speed, they're going to immediately want you to take that ball from center out of the shotgun. They want you to tuck it under your arm and do the Heisman on them O's and run. But the thing is, I remember when Trevor Lawrence ran, 20-30 yards in that one championship game, and I said, they're going to put him in at wide receiver when he go to the draft because he's running.
Yeah.
Like, you show the slightest bit of speed, and they immediately say, "Cornerback, wide
Right,
receiver."
right.
Like
Because
they don't even
you're not evading a rush for 40 yards. If you're
know.
running a 40-yard dash to show how you can pick them up and put them down in the open field.
Right, right.
Now,
So,
Mike says, only got surprised me that I didn't back Kyler Murray. That boy fought. Right.
and
Now,
I'm
you
with
finally coming
Mike.
around on Kyler Murray.
And I'm with Mike too. I didn't think Kyler Murray was gonna be worth a damn because he's 4'11". Him and Simone Biles is neck and neck. I didn't think he was gonna be. I mean, my cousin to kill me because he's an OU alum. I just didn't really think Kyler Murray was. Remember, I even told you, you better go to baseball, boy. That's where the money is. It's guaranteed. You're gonna get your money. I remember telling you that.
See, Mike had Kyler Murray on his team. He picked him up, and I needed him on mine. And his team made the fantasy playoffs, and mine didn't. I'm still salty about that, Mike. As a matter of fact, and we bleeding into Friday's show, by the way, with the football talk. But that's all good. Whenever you see Michigan Mike, myself, and Tasha T. Sizzle agree on an Ohio State player, there's no LOLs behind that because we don't play like that.
Because
If we
I
had
won't even say the name of the school. They will ever be the FIs to me.
Right. If we had any way to discredit this kid, we would. We really would. Because you don't hear us talking about our quarterback from last year.
Shea Butter.
No, JoJo. See, you're going to erase them from your memory that quick.
He left. He left. He don't count.
JoJo, you don't even count.
Count.
But but so Mike, clear your calendar Friday at noon. This time for us to talk some football. But T Sizzle, in closing today, what would you if you were a friend to Paul Pierce or DMX or any of the people that we mentioned earlier, what would be your thoughts to them? If you were going to pick DMX up from the hospital today, Lord that he makes it, what would be the conversation that you guys would have?
As I tell my daughter, and as I have told a lot of people, you don't have any friends. And the ones that you do consider friends, make sure they are truly your friends. You need to have better people around you who support you and who can tell you, you don't need to do that. Like, you and I have deep discussions. We talk about anything. If I'm wrong with something, you don't have a problem telling me I'm wrong.
It's not often.
You see stuff that Tiffany and I, we message back and forth because Tiffany is a nut. Tiffany and I argue in Facebook all the time because Tiffany puts anything and everything on Facebook.
She does.
We will argue. Even in our text, Tiffany and I argue. But you know what? We laughing at the end because Tiffany is my friend. Right. Friends can have disagreements and still, make up or still be there. I don't think there's not a time in my life that I can't turn to you or to Tiffany or even to Stiana or somebody like that to support me because I know you guys are going to support me and you're not going to tell me anything that's wrong. I may not like what you're telling me, but I am listening, and it's going to be a point where I'm going to be like, Paul did say that. Maybe I need to do this, and it's sad that in this day and age, you still have these people, especially, well, it's not sad because it's even worse now because you have the social media aspect. Everyone wants to be tagged in the photo with the celebrity. Everybody wants a photo with LeBron so they can post, like you said, they're doing with DMX. They want to be able to post that photo to say, yeah, I know him, or yeah, that's my boy, or yeah, that's my girl. We cool. I tell my daughter all the time, I'm your only friend. Now, I do know she has some friends, ones that I do like and ones that she talks to. But at the end of the day, I'm your only friend because I'm not going to let you do anything that I think is going to harm you. I can tell you all day, but if you still want to do outside, that's on you. But they need better people around them to try to guide them.
Right. And the thing is, I think you should have friends that you don't feel comfortable doing everything around because they'll chin check you on it. Like, the one thing that I love about having Michigan Mike and Tasha T. Sizzle in my life is that they won't let you just be a cockroach in the corner. Like, Mike will be like, hey, what's up, man? You going to do a show today? Marcus Stone will be like, hey, man, it's time to levitate. It's time to elevate, man. Like what's next? What we doing next? I wouldn't feel comfortable pulling out no vial of cocaine and hitting one off the back of my hand in their presence.
I mean, and that's the
Although
thing. But that's the thing. If you and I did cocaine, we gonna do it together. You know, because it's
I can't even imagine us two on something like that together. Like,
move. It's my turn. But I
right
mean,
now
it's
we sing
only
Stevenson and Reese.
twinkle, twinkle. But it's only a handful of people who I say they know where all the dead bodies are hidden.
Right.
And those are people who I trust. And you know I don't have a lot of friends because I don't like people. In general,
you sure don't.
I don't like
You
people.
you sure don't. That's true.
I like to talk. I like to have fun, and I do like them. Like Marcus and I are now friends. I ain't never met Marcus, and Mike is my boy. I love Mike, but in general, I do not like people.
Right. She don't. She really don't. So that's the ultimate cosign because she don't. She really don't. But one thing I can say about Marcus and for Mike, especially with Mike, because I've known him so long, that he'll be like, "Hey man, you need to get up, get out, and get something. Don't let these days of your life pass by. What's going on, bro?" Marcus is the same way.
I mean, but it's like, and I'm glad you do have that circle. Remember on the last show, I got a little sentimental. I'm glad you have people down there that you can call your friends who can help you and who can tell you those things. And that's why I do appreciate the people that I do call my friends, because y'all will chin check me if I'm doing something or if you don't think I'm doing something right. That's what friends are for, to tell you, wait a minute, B, I don't think you need to be doing that. You know, and I'll be like, oh, okay. Okay. And I can tell the difference between the ones I've had people in my past who I thought were friends when I was doing stuff, and I go back and I think about it and I'd be like, Tasha, why did you do that? And then, okay, who were you with that let you do that?
Right.
Those are people who I had no business being associated with, because I should not have done those things. Now I had fun while I was doing those things, but I should not have done those things. And now I have people in my life who, if I call them now, if I'm having a bad day here, if I'm down, they say stuff to make me feel better because they know me. I don't necessarily have to tell you guys everything I do because you already know what I've done. What is Mike saying?
He said like when Tasha tried to fight that you lady. Remember that? Mike got receipts.
Mike, why you putting all my business in the street, Mike? Why you putting all my business out there in the street?
She did. We were like, calm down.
She made me mad. How you gonna question what we were
doing?
With
the receipts. Mike with the receipts.
But how are you gonna question what we doing, lady? You don't know us, lady. Don't be questioning us, lady. But she came for all three of us at that. She came for all three of us.
That was hilarious. Right here, he's coming with the 2 body shots and the uppercut. Like, no, and like I appreciate like somebody who will be like, "Hey, are you sure about this?" If it's coming from a good place, you know what I'm saying? Or somebody who when they call you, it's about something that's going to inspire you, something that's going to pick you up, build you up. This goes to the Paul Pierces who need better friends, the DMX who need better friends, the Deshaun Watsons who needed somebody to get in his ear like, bruh, it's time to slow down. Somebody knew.
Somebody knew what he was doing.
Somebody knew. You can't have 40 masseuses and somebody in the locker room don't know.
Hey, Paul, I got this gal, man. You ain't want to get her. She'll oil you up, dog. She'll oil you
right.
up.
Like you tiptoeing through the tulips with a towel on every 3 days. Like something's gonna be like, well, wait, where are you sneaking off to every Thursday?
Oh, let me come up out these glasses.
We need some friends to hold us accountable. But you did try to fight that lady. It was at the state fair too, y'all.
Why you putting all my business out in the street? See, you know what?
I wanted them to get a picture of how packed it was.
She made me mad. You know, it don't take much to get me mad.
It don't take much to set you off. It don't take much to set you off.
But no, if they have the game this year and everything, yeah, I'm coming back. I'll be there.
You better be here. You better be here.
Because I need some state fair food.
Now, look, man, you know this is Texas. It's going to be open. Just bring your mask and come on. It's going to be open.
Because y'all had $1 million at the game the other day.
Right. I was looking for Mike at the game. The thing is, though, that was a good look to me, though. I ain't going to lie. To see all those people back in the stands again.
It makes you feel good.
As a sports fan, I'm like, we one step closer. Now, I may not be at the first couple of games. I need to see how this thing roll out. But I'll eventually get back there. But it was good to see those people out having fun. Again, me and Tasha's position was never, everybody stay in the house. It was if you know your ass is sick, stay in the house.
Stay in the
If you
house.
know that you high risk, put a mask on or stay in the house. If you got your vaccine shot or if you asymptomatic, it's not bothering you. Go on out and have fun. Go on out and have fun. That's how we do. Um, so with this being said, wow, the stuff that went off script was the meat of the show today. Shouts out to everybody checking in on that. Tasha T Sizzle, who are you shouting out on the way up out of here?
I'm shouting out. I forgot to do this on our last show. It was National Autism Day, and I needed to shout out my cousin Monique, who has her sweet little boy Warwick, uh, who has autism. My great realtor down here in the Dominican Republic. His name is Ricardo, and his sweet little boy also suffers from autism. Like I said, I mean, the whole month is Autism Awareness Month, but it was Autism Awareness Day, and I did not shout those people out. There's different, you can follow different areas of the spectrum with autism, but just
Mm-hmm.
like me working with children with special needs, they always have a special place in my heart. And
Mm-hmm.
also my husband, who has a little bit of autism, have to shout out to him as well. um, but yeah, just like again, everybody that just keeps supporting me, making sure that I'm up, because again, I am in a foreign country. Y'all may see me on here having fun, but sometimes I'm thinking, damn, sure wish I could get this, because there's a lot of things I can't get here, and I do.
Right.
I miss my mom. I miss my daughter, even though my daughter lives in a different state. Again, just everybody just keep supporting Paul, and just everybody be safe, and just be kind and be patient with everybody.
I love that. As a matter of fact, that was the mic drop. Shouts out to the hit squad, Michigan Mike, T Sizzle. Shouts out to the hustle squad, Mr. Marcus Stone. Shouts out to Duke, new manager. We see you doing your thing, Duke. Shouts out to everybody that's checking. Hope you had a great time. Hope you were able to take your mind off your work or your problems for the last hour or so.
Hey Duke, I don't know Duke, but hey Duke.
The rapping Duke, they
Da,
never thought the hip hop was gonna
da,
take it this far. Um,
da,
but but to my crew, because like Tasha, I have a very 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 small circle, and I'm very very thankful and appreciative for all of them, for all of you all out there. Um, hey, let's do this again on Friday, shall we?
It's gonna be me, you, and Michael. What we doing?
We'll figure all that out because Mike,
Okay.
you've been put on blast. We need you Friday, bruh. Because we're gonna get down into the nooks and crannies of this pending draft that's coming up. So, on behalf of T Sizzle, Mr. Stone, Mr. Duke, Mr. Hassel, we're gonna say peace out.
Peace out.
Always forget to end the broadcast.